welcome back to another STEM Health video. We'll be continuing on Miss Charitat's geometry midterm review. So number 1, name a line to the right 3 different ways. So you basically have to include these endpoint values when you are describing a line. So you also need to have a line above what letters you're talking about. So you can have a C with the line. You can have ABC, which is the obvious one, or CBA. So with AC, I'm going from A to C, talking about the endpoints as if B doesn't exist. The line still is the same. ABC is just obviously going from left to right, naming all the letters, and CBA goes from right all the way to the left. Alright, number 2, using the figure to the right, answer the following. Name the intersection plane ABD. So by the looks of it, it looks like the plane is going to be plane ABDG. And CLD. And so the intersection of the plane ABD and CLD, it looks like this is going downward, and if it keeps going downward, this one looks like a flat plane, so it intersects at a line. So the name the intersection of ABD, we could name it line GFD. Alright, B, the intersection of the plane CAB and DGA. CAB, okay, so the back portion of this shape, and DGA, well, it looks like the line is going to be AB, because they're both intersecting at a line. Alright, let me just change colors. Okay. C, how many planes contain DL, D and L? Okay, so one plane with BLD, one plane with DGCL, and that is all. So the answer is going to be 2 for this one. And point F, it has plane AGDB and plane GCLD. So this is 2 again. Okay. Use the distance formula to determine the distance between point T and point W. So the distance formula is going to be, so we're trying to find the distance. It's equal to the square root of y2 minus y1 squared plus x2 minus x1 squared. And so now what we're going to do is we're just going to plug in these values for y. So I'm going to make point T our 2 and W our 1. So point T value is going to be 3 minus -5 plus the x coordinate of t, which is 2 minus -7. Make sure that that parenthesis is clear. Alright, now we can simplify. 3 minus -5 is going to be 8 squared plus 2 minus -7 is +7, so 2 plus 7 equals 9. 9 squared. And this is equal to the square root of 64 plus 81, which is equal to the square root of 145. And are there any perfect squares that will go into this? As of right now, no. No, there aren't. Yes, yeah. There aren't any perfect squares. You cannot multiply by anything that will give you a factor of a perfect square. Okay, so now let's go on to B, part B, find the length FG. It's the same thing. We're going to use the exact same formula. So we're gonna keep this and say, let's go over here. So let's rewrite f and g. So f is equal to 7 comma negative 2, and g is equal to negative 9 comma 5. G is equal to negative 9 comma 5. I want to see if I did that correctly. Yes. Okay. So we use the same formula. The distance formula is going to be from f to g is going to be y squared, y2 minus y1 plus x2 minus x1. And so this is equal to, let's pick, I don't know, this one as our y2's and x2's. So y of g is going to be 5 minus negative 2. Okay, let me write this in a different color. Let's pick blue. Plus x2, which is negative 9, minus 7. And so this is equal to 5 minus negative 2 is 7 squared, plus 9 minus 7, negative 9 minus 7 is negative 16. Negative 16 squared is just 16 squared, which is equal to the square root of 49 plus 196. Or sorry, 216. That is my fault. 216. And finally, we can simplify this radical to 265. Let's see, can we make this into a perfect square? Let's try it out. I see there's a 5 here, so if we divide this by 5, so this is going to be 5 times 53, and 53 is a prime number, so it really doesn't seem that we can, so that means we just leave our answer like this. Okay, and moving on to number 4. Find the coordinates of the midpoint of a segment having the given endpoints. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take each point and we're going to find the average x and average y. So what's the average x value? So 11 plus negative 7 over 2 is equal to 11 minus 7 is 4 over 2, which is equal to 2. That's the x value of the midpoint. And what we're going to do is we're now going to add the y values. So the x for QR. Now the y for QR. Negative 5 plus 5 over 2 is equal to 0 divided by 2, which is equal to 0. So the answer for A is going to be let me make this into a bright color. 2, 0. Okay? The next one is going to be the same process. Here, let me change this to a pink color. So the x value of the midpoint of PS is equal to 4 plus -9 over 2 is equal to 4 minus 9 is -5 over 2, and you cannot simplify that. So the y value of PS is equal to -10 plus 8 over 2, which is equal to -2 over 2, which is equal to -1. -10 plus 8 is -2, and you simplify this fraction to get -1. So the midpoint for this is going to be -5/2, comma, -1. Alright, on to the final question. B is the midpoint of segment AC. A lies in this, and B lies in that. Find the coordinates for C. Well, we can work backwards. And I'll show you how you can think of this intuitively, even if you forget how to do this specifically. So the midpoint formula, so if you have AC, you find the x value of AC, you take the x value of A plus the x value of C divided by 2 is equal to the x value of B. And same goes for y. The y value of AC, or the midpoint of AC, is going to be the y value of A plus the y value of C over 2 is equal to the y value of B. Alright, now we're trying to find what the x and y value for C is. Now we just use algebra. So let me change this. So we use this formula. We're trying to find B here. So what's the x value for A is going to be 12 plus what we're trying to find. We're trying to find, let's make this into x of C over 2 is equal to x of B, which is 7. Multiply both sides by 2, and 14 is equal to 12 plus x of C. Subtract 12 from both sides, and we get x of C is equal to 2. In that same regard, we can keep going. The y value of A is equal to 6 plus y of C over 2 is equal to the midpoint of 9. And then you can keep going. Looks a bit like Christmas. So y of C plus 6 is equal to 18. I multiply both sides by 2. And same here. That's how I got 14. And subtract both sides by 6. So y of C is equal to 12. So the answer is going to be 2, 12. But there's also another way you can do this. You can say, well, if 12 is on the end and you move 5 spaces, you got to move 5 more spaces. And if you are at 6 and you go up 3 spaces, you have to go up more spaces from 9 to get to 12. So you can think of that intuitively, but this is just a more surefire way. If you can do all this very quickly, it's a surefire way that you'll get the answer. Because it's very easy to make a minor mistake saying 12 minus 5 is 7, and 7 minus 5 is 2. You might mess up. And I hope that's helpful.